Do you ever feel lost or confused about your life's direction or even purpose? If so, this video is for you. I am about to share with you 2 key insights that will reveal the original error, the bug in the system, which is responsible for all of your mental confusion. When you get this understanding, you can finally take concrete steps towards becoming crystal clear about what you want your life to look like and, most importantly, feel like. So if this sounds good to you, stick around. For insight number 1, we have to travel back in time about 2.5 million years. Yes, that's how far back in time your mental confusion can be tracked. If the human evolution theory is correct, that's about when early humans discovered the most fascinating ability to create tools with which then they could have their basic needs met for food, water, shelter, safety, and they could do this faster and easier. Once they made this discovery, they kept at it, and soon enough, a feedback loop was established between the hands and the brain, and the most important factor which sets us apart from the rest of the animal kingdom emerged: the rational, conscious mind. So why am I telling you this, and what does this have to do with your mental confusion? It's because I want you to realize that the part of your mind that holds your entire self-concept, the story of who you are, where you're coming from, what you're all about, and where you're going, that mind is the end result of a process that started way before you and I were born. What process? The process of navigating and manipulating the external environment to create more ease and comfort. And this process became the very pattern of human evolution, and it remained unchanged for 2.5 million years. We diligently kept putting all of our available resources, our time, energy, effort, tools. We gave it everything. We gave it our best because we saw results. So we kept at it to the point that, dare I say, we are now stuck in it. So what does this have to do with you and your life's direction? Insight number 2 will explain. The whole process I've just described started with a specific goal, a clear intention: create ease and comfort for ourselves. And we became very prolific at it. Our tools became so sophisticated that today objects made by humans are floating through space beyond the solar system, collecting information and sending it back to Earth. More humans than not today do have food, water, shelter, safety, the basic needs covered, but more humans than not also experience unease and discomfort. Why? We can think of a million reasons, but we are trying, as I said, to get to the main reason, the reason behind all other reasons, the original sin, if you will. And the main error is the fact that us humans have evolved enough to gain the understanding that human experience of life happens always in 2 distinct environments simultaneously: external objective, internal subjective environment. We also understand that none of the 2 can exist without the other, nor is one of the 2 more important than the other. However, we continue to behave in the same old way. Why? Because we are not used to doing this kind of work. We do not have the experience to doing the inner work, to navigating and manipulating the internal environment. First, it's outside of our comfort zone. We do not have the experience. It's very uncomfortable. But secondly, there's an aggravating factor. It has to do with the remaining 90 to 95% of our psyche. The rational conscious mind is about 5 to 10% of the psyche, depending on the age. The remaining 90 to 95% is also, by our natural evolution, conditioned to think that we remain toddlers for the rest of our lives, that comfort and ease can only come from our external environment. If this sounds interesting, you can watch the other video where I discuss the 90 to 95% of the mind. I think in the thumbnail it says self-doubt. And so the way we live our life says Everything that's worth my time, energy, attention, and resources is out there. Whatever arises into my awareness from the inner environment, the gut feelings, the impulses, the impressions, the yearnings, the desires, the fears, the intuitive hints, if my conscious rational mind disapproves of, I readily dismiss. In other words, it's as if us humans took the whole of life, cut it into half, and said, I am going to put all of my resources into growing and developing this one half, external environment, and this other half, I'll deal with it later. And later has been 2.5 million years. Maybe in another 2 million years, I'll look at it. Of course, I'm exaggerating, and of course, there have been exceptions, and those exceptions gave us the greatest thinkers, the philosophers, the scientists, the inventors, the spiritual masters, the teachers, the healers, the artists. And dare I say, most of the time, these are the people who take us forward in evolution. But we always make sure that whatever they bring from that other environment into this one, we make it fit our same pattern. We will make it useful to whatever interests we have in this external. And so oftentimes, whatever value they bring is misused, either because of ignorance or because of egotistic reasons. And the vast majority remains stuck in this loop where everything we have, everything we do it in only half of life's terrain, in only half of the total field where life actually unfolds for us humans. Now, all of this comfort and ease that we have been able to create in our external environment has been a result of focused, intentional work. So then it's safe to say that comfort and ease in the internal environment is only going to happen through intentional, focused work. But it's not easy. So how is all of this useful to you in finding clarity for your life's direction, for your life's purpose? Because from what I have been describing, our situation really seems hopeless, right? But it's not. And before I give you the good news, I just want to say something here. Now that you know that whatever challenge you are experiencing in your life that has to do with lack of clarity, it's not the fault of your spouse, your children, your boss, your parents. I mean, they may have a hand in it, but it's essentially the result of the fact that you are human. It really is part of the human condition, of the human challenge in this game of life, if you will. And the good news now, I can finally share with you the good news, is that life's impulse is always towards fixing any big extreme imbalances. And the way we have evolved, this pattern of evolution of ours has become extreme. We have evolved so much, but always in this half of life, in a way, half of where actually life unfolds for us, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. Every single human being experiences life in these two worlds. And I mean, it becomes so very evident when we see people who seem to have it all, the wealth, the fame, the applause, the recognition, and one day they decide to take their own lives. That's when we can see that subjective is no less important than objective reality. So, because life's impulse is always to correct any extremes, to bring harmony into big extremes, as soon as the individual begins to put their resources, their attention and focus into doing the inner work, into starting to navigate and manipulate the internal environment, this wasteland that has been waiting, as soon as the first results begin to emerge, they start to increase exponentially. It's as if everything in there has been waiting for your attention. And once you're giving it to it, it's blossoming as if spring finally came after a very long winter. So if you feel that you're done with being stuck, confused, done with not taking back the power, if you are in as much pain as I was when I started doing my work, which was 5 years ago, before that, I spent my adult life just collecting information, searching, and thinking I'm doing the work, but I was actually creating movement, but not actually moving, you know? So when I finally decided that I'm going to do the work, that was 5 years ago. And in the last 1 year is when I saw the biggest results. I decided I have to start sharing this with people. And this is the reason why I'm even making these videos, because I found value in it and I want to share it with people. Because for me, this perspective that I've shared it with you, I'm sure I'm not the only one who's had these insights, but I haven't heard anyone share this perspective. And this is why I thought I have to share it with other people, because I love hearing other people's perspectives. Like, for example, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. It's so simple yet so profound. It's my favorite book, by the way. And I loved it. And I thought, you know what, I have to share this perspective, and then I want to share the process, my process, but it's not ready. It should have been ready by now. It's not ready because life happens, being a mother happens. But I hope in the next 1 or 2 months, I will be able to finally offer it. So if you are interested, if you've enjoyed this content, please give it a like, share it with whoever you think will take something useful out of it. Tell me your perspective, your thoughts on this, your experience in the comments down below. And if you want to keep receiving content like this, if you want to stay tuned and maybe then check out the program, please subscribe the channel. And what else? And I wish you the best of luck in your journey. And I am sending you big love and true power. And thank you very much for having been with me all the way to the end. Bye and take care.